What's up everyone, this is Q from Retro Q Gaming, and today in this video we're going to look at a couple of things. It's going to be a little longer video, but it's mostly going to focus on some Left 4 Dead news, some Evolve news, and essentially what can be called when studios pass IPs or series onto different studios for whatever reason. But before we get into any of that, I just want to... This video, real quick, is going to have... I have to switch the recording and the audio recording and the video recording and processing a little bit because I'm still having a technical issue, and this way I can get around it. It's not perfect, but it's better than what I thought I had fixed. So I just want to apologize for that if you're not too happy with it in the meantime. So first off, there was some news today that Turtle Rock Studios, the developer behind Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, are, and Evolve actually, sorry about that, that they were asked about what they see the future of them and Left 4 Dead. And one of the co-founders, Phil Robb, had this to say: "There's a little bit of Left 4 Dead DNA in Evolve, but it's a different experience. If you look back at Left 4 Dead, there's some things that we felt kind of proved out the theory for Evolve, like the tank battles being one of the main ones. That's essentially a 4 versus 1 experience if you're looking at a versus play mode, and we thought, wow, that's one of the most intense things in Left 4 Dead. We could take that and expand on it. That showed us that that our kind of thing could work." So apparently the idea for Evolve actually came about before the idea of Left 4 Dead. So, you know, we're looking, what's that, 2008, to maybe even before, when their idea first came up. But when they were asked about the future of Left 4 Dead and if they can see, you know, where they can see Left 4 Dead going and all that kind of thing, if they're going to be involved with it, he had to say, "I think we're pretty much done with it. It's Valve's thing now. We're kind of gone off in our own direction, so I'd kind of like to see something new being done with it, and Valve always does great stuff, but it'd be cool to get back as a fan and not just a developer, but I doubt you'll see anything from us." So Turtle Rock Studios have now officially passed Left 4 Dead franchise to Valve. That's Valve, you know, the same people who haven't made a game in a long time, let alone a game with the number 3 in the title. But, you know, that's a little other thing that we're going to address now. So what does that mean? Now, I've played the Evolve beta. Wasn't happy with it, to be honest. I don't know what I'm going to do with the full game because I don't know, it's just so hit or miss. I'd have to invest, you know, €50 or so to get what could go either way at this point. I'll see. I'll hang on. I'll wait and see. What else it means is when you look at what's going to be Left 4 Dead now, if you'll excuse the pun actually, I don't mean Left 4 Dead is going to be Left 4 Dead, but it could possibly be, because unfortunately, as much as I love Valve, they don't have the greatest track record with releasing sequels and games anymore. Now, when they do come out, the quality is there, but you know, it's the kind of thing, I mean, you're looking at a GTA release schedule for this kind of thing. I mean, there's basically a new GTA game every 5-6 years. If you're lucky, you get a new Valve game every 5 or 6 years, which is unfortunate. But it could go either way, because with a studio like Valve behind it and everything they have access to from Steam, from, you know, just the development talent in their studio, the money they have to create new development studios, the money they have to hire for their current development studios, you know, there's a lot of potential there. And the fact that Left 4 Dead is so well weaved into the Steam framework as it is, it could potentially get a lot better in both the modding community and, you know, not just from the gameplay aspect of it. I'm curious to see how it goes In the unlikely event we see a Valve game with the number 3 in the title, I will most likely be buying it day one, because I'm just a big fan of a lot of those games anyway. Now, moving on to the second part of this video, which is going to focus really on when studios or publishers, whichever choice it comes down to, is when they're forced to, not just forced, when they're forced or by choice, they pass a franchise or an IP to someone else so they can go do their own thing. Some of the obvious one that's going to come up right now is Bungie passing Halo to 343 Industries. The last Halo game that Bungie made was Halo Reach, which was, I can't even remember at this point. I think it was 2011, and they've been working on Destiny ever since. Now, that could go both ways. 343 Industries are a Microsoft founded development studio, and obviously they're owned by Microsoft, and they've been handling Halo 4 and the Master Chief Collection, and as it stands, Halo 5 Guardians, including the beta. Now, see, here's where it gets tricky, because when you look at, say, Halo 4 when that came out, personally I thought Halo 4 was a good game. I don't really like it as much as some of the original Bungie Halo games, but that could be a little bit of nostalgia kicking in. But it certainly wasn't a bad game, and there was no main issues with it. They started their own trilogy, basically, which kind of left out what was going on in the past. So, Bungie's Halo saga ended fairly tightly, relatively tightly anyway, but we'll call it fairly tightly. And the problem is that even though from a technical aspect Halo 4 wasn't plagued with bugs or problems and all, there was some balancing issues and things like that, but when you look at the Master Chief Collection and how much of a train wreck that is, and how many people, including myself, which are now extremely worried for Halo 5 Guardians, there's it brings up an issue about one studio or publisher passing development to another. So, I mean, that could go either way, and that's not even including the potential news that's all leaked. I have it in my other video that Microsoft could actually be buying Bungie back, which is, again, it's a whole different video and there's a whole different story behind that. So I'd recommend checking that out at one point. I'll have a link below. But, I'm not against other studios taking over. Just because it's like, oh no, that's Bungie's franchise, oh that's someone else's franchise. If they take over and they do a good job, or maybe even a better job, fantastic. That gives the gamers at the end of the day a better game, which is what we all want. But then you have situations like the Halo thing, which can be very questionable and potentially highly damaging to not only, say, Halo as a brand, the Microsoft reputation, but as the gamers, we'd suffer and we could get a worse game out of it, or games, if it continues to Master Chief Collection and Halo 5, maybe even beyond. But I mean, you've other ones as well. I mean, Microsoft had Epic Games doing the Gears of War games, and then Microsoft took over the Gears of War license, and now that's been handed off to Black Tusk Studios, which is actually founded by Rod Ferguson, who is one of the top guys used to be one of the top guys in Epic Games. So, that gives things like that a good foundation. He'd have, say, he has experience with what Gears of War is. Now, that's not to say that some of the other people in the studio could fuck it up, but there's a good chance there. So I'm willing to give that a good shot. And once it actually comes out and we can judge after that if it's going to be a whole Master Chief Collection 2.0, or if it's, if it's going to be one of the situations where, okay, I thought nothing could be better than the Epic Games ones, and now this studio's come out and done it, and whoa, this is fantastic, and blows your mind, that kind of thing. And again, we get a better experience at the end of the day because of that. And one other one I'm going to go with on the opposite side, because I went with Black Tusk Studios and Epic Games on the positive, is when you have something like a publisher who they have a development company in their portfolio, we'll call it. This one is specifically aimed at Warner Bros. Games and Rocksteady. So Rocksteady made the Arkham Asylum, and they made Arkham City, and they're making the upcoming Arkham Knight. Both those two games that are already out that I just listed, I really like, and there's plenty of people, they're highly critically acclaimed, all that. And Arkham Knight looks fantastic, I can't wait to get it. But because of Warner Brothers wanting to release games more often, kind of cash in on it, if you will, a little bit, they founded a studio, I believe, are called WB Montreal, so Warner Bros. Montreal. It may have been around before it, but I can't recall hearing about it before the whole Batman Arkham Origins thing. So they came out with that. They churned it out as quickly as they can. The quality is not very good, in my opinion, especially compared to Arkham Asylum and Arkham Origins. So, Rocksteady don't consider it part of their Batman trilogy because it's not developed by them, and they didn't want it made, even if it's by a different studio. So that kind of is one of the other things as well in this line of studios and publishers doing all that. I mean, they just wanted the extra money, they wanted the extra coverage. They churned out a mediocre at best game, and I mean, there's points where it's gone on that they've made announcements that they're not fixing any more bugs, including game-breaking ones. And in the odd chance they do fix any bugs, it will just be game-breaking ones. A lot of people are pissed off about that. I know myself. I played Arkham Origins recently, a couple of months ago, and there's a huge section of the map out in the open, in the town, in the city, where it's maybe the size of the area that I'm going to mention is about 10, maybe 15% of the entire map. And you're gliding and grappling through buildings, through ground, through floors, through walls, through everything. There's whole sections you can't get into because if you have to stand on a roof to open a door. If you stand anywhere in that building or anywhere within like 4 or 5 buildings radius in any direction, you fall under the map. I might even re-download it and record it on Steam and put it in just to show you. And this is the kind of thing that damages it all. It damages the reputation. It damages, the reputation of the studio. You can't really blame Rocksteady because they didn't have anything to do with it and they didn't want the game to be made. So, we can leave them aside. They're not to blame for that one. But it hurts the Batman image and the Batman name, the Arkham series. So, it can go either way. I've listed a bunch of positives, a bunch of potential positives, a bunch of negatives, a bunch of potential negatives. Only time will tell at the end of the day. So we'll have to see what happens with possible Left 4 Dead 3, possible Half-Life 3. Yeah, right, Half-Life 3 confirmed, if only. The new Gears of War, Halo 5, just to name a few. There's more that I can't remember. But, okay, this has gone on too long, so if everyone just wants to leave a comment down below on what you think about studios taking over, studios being founded just to do this kind of stuff, if you've had previous experience with, say, a franchise you like being passed to someone else by developer choice or publisher choice or something like that, and how it worked for you or how it didn't work for you in that kind of situation anyway. So once again, leave a comment down below, hit the subscribe button, hit a like, leave me, that's why I'm here. Leave all those subscriptions, leave all those comments, leave all that feedback. And thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next video.